for you. You see, when you can be clear about what you desire, this already goes a long way to activating spiritual forces on your behalf. And when you know exactly what it is you're looking for, this is just another way to say it, when you know what you're looking for, it's going to be easier to find. So this brings me to the second thing that's important in setting the purpose of a treatment. And that is that we always talk about what we desire, what we want, our desired outcome. We don't talk about what we don't want. Now, I know it's tempting when a practitioner says, what would you like treatment for? It's really tempting to go on and start talking about what's wrong in the situation, to describe that condition that we're unhappy with. But you know, anytime we give that condition mental attention or attention with our language, it's making it stronger. Holmes said over and over again, turn away from the condition that we don't want, turn toward the condition that we do want. Turn away from the condition, put your focus on what you want. John Waterhouse provides a great explanation in here. He says, when we focus on what we do not want, it may go away someday, but the process of its departure will likely be long and arduous. Have you noticed that? Moving toward that which we desire is always easier than moving away from that which we do not desire. Even though there may be times when we are very clear about what we don't want, the process of ridding ourselves of any condition will go more quickly and easily when we focus on identifying and claiming the condition that will take its place. So that applies even when we're setting, with our words, when we're setting the intention for our treatment. We don't want to mention what we don't want in that purpose. For example, if I'm having back pain, rather than saying the purpose of this treatment is relief from back pain, what I want to say is the purpose of this treatment is to experience comfort and ease in my back. Do you hear the difference? I'm not mentioning what I don't want. I'm only mentioning what I do want. Using those very words puts the power there. In this month's book, Edelman reminds us that being clear and concise like this is helpful when we are praying for ourselves. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes when I'm praying silently, my mind can wander. And if I've got that purpose clearly and concisely stated, it's easier for me to remember. It's easier to come back to as a focal point. The other thing is, if I ask for something that is clear and concise and specific, it's easier after the prayer's happened for me to pay attention to when it shows up in the world. Or as we say here, when the treatment has demonstrated, which just means when the prayer's been answered. So you've probably noticed, if you've ever picked up a prayer request form from the practitioner table to put in the box, that we actually are encouraging you to be clear and concise. There's 3 lines on which to make your prayer request here. And the instructions are, briefly describe the outcome you would like to have as a result of this prayer request. Parenthesis. We do not need to know the details of the situation leading to this request. Please focus specifically on how you would like to feel as a result. Now there's something interesting. How do you, I don't need it, Don, thank you. How do you want to feel? So for example, I might start by thinking, my prayer request is a new car. I want a new car. But then I can add that extra piece of self-inquiry and say, well, why? What would that do for me? How would I feel if I had a new car? And I might realize, I'd feel much safer than in the car that I want. So really, maybe what I'm asking for, maybe what my treatment request should be about is feeling safe as I move through the world. So here's a couple of what ifs. What if there are just so many things going on in your life that you don't even know where to begin to ask for treatment? Well, Reverend John Waterhouse addresses this in his book by telling a sweet African tale about a chief who was in his home one day, and 3 young men came to him and said, "We're here to challenge you for the position of chief." And he said, "Well, that's fine. You can challenge as long as I can set the task." They said, "Fine, you set the task." So he brought out a bundle of sticks that were all tied together, and he said, "Whoever can break this bundle of sticks in half will be the chief." So the first one took that bundle and he propped it on the ground and he held it with one hand, and with his foot he tried to break it right in the middle. Couldn't do it. The second one took that bundle and he leaned it against a rock and he jumped up and down on it. Didn't break. The third one took that bundle and he put it up in the limb of a tree and he pulled really hard on both ends. Nothing happened. It was now the chief's turn. He took the bundle, untied the string, and proceeded to break each stick one by one. And I think it's a good reminder to us that when there just seems to be so much going on, that what we can do is simply treat for one thing at a time. First this thing, now this thing. Another good idea is to pay attention to what is immediately in front of us. What's the most important thing to you right now? What's the highest priority right now? There's a mother in another Center for Spiritual Living who's training her daughters to be aware of praying for other people when they need help. And the way she's doing this, she had this idea that what she would do is when a siren was heard, she would invite the girls to make a prayer. So they were at home one day and a siren was heard, an ambulance went by, and so she said to the girls, "Make a wish, make a prayer." And the little girls closed their eyes. And when they opened them, the mother said to the oldest girl, "What did you pray for?" She said, "I prayed that everybody would be okay." The mother said, "Good." She turned to the little one and she said, "What did you pray for?" And the little one said, "A pink purse." Now, we can tell from our adult perspective that the little one wasn't quite getting what was going on. On the other hand, it's a good reminder that when we're not quite sure what to treat about, we can think, what is most important to me right now? What is the thing I want most right now? And that's how we can set the purpose for our treatment. Finally, if you ever have moments when you are just not sure what to treat for, Holmes has this advice. He says, treat yourself for guidance into the knowledge of that which would be best for you to do, remembering that the inner mind knows infinitely more than the intellect. It knows how to take ideas and form objective circumstances around them. Naturally, the sooner we know just what we wish to do, the quicker we shall create mental images that are definite, and the creative mind can more quickly set to work to carry out our plans for us.